Welcome back to another episode of Offensive Driving, where today we'll be taking a deeper dive into penalty plays, looking when we decide we should make one, where to make the play, and how to secure a win after making the play. Let's briefly go over what a penalty play is. When you take a shortcut or drive over areas not on the intended track, you incur a penalty, usually between 1 and 4 seconds, that's added to your finish time, depending on how much time you spend off track. Sometimes it's advantageous to eat the penalty in order to make the play, and sometimes it's not. Today we're gonna be on the Crescent Valley racetrack. Right now what we're looking at is the second lap of my first attempt to win this particular race. Let's take a second and familiarize ourselves with the track so that we can formulate some thoughts on where we might want to execute plays here. The second lap makes for a fairly clean run with no opponents in the way. One of the things we want to take notice of is also how close second, third, and fourth are to us throughout this entire lap. What this tells us is that even with the benefit of not having interference, building a solid lead is going to be difficult on this track. Alright, now that we have an idea of how this place drives, let's go to my first attempt. This is round 3 of a 4-round event, and we've already taken first in rounds 1 and 2, so we don't need to come out of this with a first place win. Well, we're not punks, so we're going to be gunning for first regardless. Right, so you'll notice that my attempt 1 footage is live gameplay and not a replay. That's because I wasn't planning on saving this first try due to the result, but it does provide some good insights. That does mean we lose our slow-mo and ability to see other drivers' perspectives though, unfortunately. Alright, so coming into this first set of right then left turns, I decide to make my play for first. I come out of this really clean actually, with barely any damage taken. So I took 2 shortcuts there, cutting across both turns, and ended up in first place. But what was my mistake though? I didn't generate enough advantage on my play. Let's skip forward to the end of the final lap and look at how close second place is to me. Alright, coming into the last section of the final lap here. We can see that second, third, they're both really close behind me still, just like they were in lap 1 and 2. So we've got a problem where we can't really build any meaningful distance between us and them. Yep. So after penalties are applied, we end up third. Note that we only managed a 1.3 second time advantage while taking a 4-second penalty. That's not good enough. We don't take those L's. Let's try again. Alright, attempt number 2. I'm going to try making a play in a different location, hopefully gain more advantage that way. On this first turn, I'm still going to try cut across, hopefully setting myself up to be in a position to make the play later on. Alright, so I've taken up position 6. Not bad. Alright, here we go. Smash into the side of the first place car. Second place manages to take the lead though. Alright. Do manage to take the lead here. However, I'm going to notice a similar problem. We haven't generated enough advantage. And following the second place car right now, we're going to come up on the end of lap 3 and they're still right behind us. That remains a problem. You might be thinking that the bend where I chose to make my play this time around looks familiar. That's because it is. This is where I had ended Otto Lena's career in episode 5 of Offensive Driving. Alright, looking at the results. 4-second penalty on a 1.7 second lead, putting us at second place. That's not good enough! Okay, cooling off into attempt number 3, I've decided to not make any penalty plays on these first turns. Why is that? Well, if you've seen episode 5, you may have noted that I had a lot more leeway during the execution of my attack in this race. As you'll see, I took a much shallower turn than I did in the previous episode, because I ended up much closer to the target than I was back then. What this means is that I did not need to take the earlier penalty on the first turn of the race to gain as much position as I did. We recognize that the benefit gained from making that play isn't necessary to make this attack possible, which means that taking the small shortcut actually puts us at a net disadvantage. And we got lucky, and we ended up in about the same place anyway. So, yay. Okay, so here we go again, into the play. And this time we make sure to do something we didn't manage to do the other 2 tries. We disable the target vehicle long enough to completely knock it out of the running. And this is absolutely crucial, because we remember how easy it is to keep pace if they don't have to deal with the rest of the pack. Let's real quick go ahead and take a look at the impact from their end. Also notice how I pushed him into the gravel. Gravel is absolutely debilitating for cars, since it hinders movement so much. Alright, that's a successful hit. There's no way he's getting back into second. Okay, so now we have a new problem. The car that used to be in 3rd place has broken free from the pack and is now in 2nd place right behind me. How are we going to deal with this? It's very similar to the problem we had before, where 2nd place is too close and our penalty is going to push us back. Yeah, so this guy is getting disturbingly close. So, now that this time we executed what we wanted to do correctly, knocking that red car that used to be in 1st place down a few pegs, and only taking a small penalty for it, we're also going to need to fix another aspect of our play that might have saved our earlier runs. So what else did we miss before that can be remedied now? There. Did you catch it? There it is. Did you notice my car off to the right slow down way earlier than needed to make the turn? Let's watch it back from my perspective. So here, I slow down to let him pass, knowing that he will need to turn a wide right, and when he does, I take my shot. I hit his front wheel and stay driving forward so that I can impede his ability to turn and pin him to the wall before I turn away. And as we can see, this play has destroyed Raheem's chance of catching up to my vehicle, and we will see that he's so far removed, the rest of the pack is going to be able to catch up to his position. So, what we had missed before was that we stopped driving offensively after taking the lead. Remembering how impossible it is to build a good solid distance between us and our tail on this track, we learned that we can't leave it to luck or hope that they mess up to put those 3 seconds between us and the 2nd place vehicle. We need to make a play to secure a victory. And that's what we do. Let's take a look now at 2nd and 3rd place. And also let's look at the map so we can see exactly how much farther they are behind us. Yeah, that is the lead we're looking for. Okay, popping on over to the results screen now. We see we only took that single 3-second penalty, and we finished a full 6 minus 3 seconds ahead. That's the huge time advantage we want to see. And that's it. See you next time.